Kennedy.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the December 14th board meeting. Reminder, if there's an emergency, we get you out from the rear of the building. Please go to your vehicles. Please do not start or leave your vehicles until so directed by emergency service personnel. If we must smoke, we must not do it in the building. We do it outside. Those clerk.
Yes, good evening, and in case I don't have an opportunity, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. I have actually two approvals, one of which is not on your agenda. First is the board meeting minutes of November 23rd, 2015.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
And the second is the special meeting minutes of November 30th, 2015.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you.
There are no public hearings. Treasurer?
Good evening. Okay, let's start with the bills. For the period of 12/8 through 12/14, they total $990,070.81. Top 5, Agile Construction, River Avenue Sewer Extension, $156.85. New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation, number 3 installment, $139,686.25. New York State Employee Health, $123,621.29. It's a January bill. Island Pump and Tank, replacing gas pumps, $36,355. PSE&G Long Island, $31,222.29. Village-wide electricity. I'd like to have approval.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you. I have a couple other things. Yeah, no, number one, we have a budget adjustment, and we're going to appropriate from surplus to finally clean this up, $45,849, and that's to transfer the difference between what the New York State requirement estimate that we get and the actual bill. We always get an estimate, and the actual bill is usually more. So now we're going to clean it up and transfer it in so we can cover the whole thing. So we could have a
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
A quick comment about that. This is $45,849 that we didn't plan on.
Right.
Right? This is a mandated fee that goes to the retirement fund that the village trustees and the village residents have no say over. It comes to us from the state, it just comes down to us, and we have to pay it. So this year, we are just $45,000 short. Those of you who've been following this for a few years, in 2004, the entire bill was about $50,000. The entire bill was about $50,000. Now it's about $750,000. So this is just one of the things that, I don't mean just the trustees, but the residents of the village face this as well. This is our bill. We pay this with tax money.
Then our staff hasn't changed.
And our staff
We
hasn't
haven't
changed.
added that number of people to create that much of a financial impact.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. So what do you say?
Approved?
Okay. One other item, we have a loan from the general fund to capital projects, $10,963.22, and to community development fund, $67,28.42. I get what else?
Motion to accept.
Yeah, we get them reimbursed.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Okay, and you have your cash balances. Thank you. Cash balances as of November 30th for your information. Thank you very much.
One of the bills to be paid was $156,085 for Agile Construction for the River Avenue Sewer Extension. If you saw the newspaper on Friday, the Regional Economic Development, we received a grant for $1,430,000. And what that is going to allow us to do is do some additional work. It's specifically for River Avenue project. We had, to try to save some money, we modified it a little bit. We took out some permeable pavers, and those permeable pavers allowed water to seep in into sort of tanks on the ground and then be released. Those would be put back in. It also required us to pull about $750,000 to almost $800,000 out of our surplus. By getting this grant, we'll be able to leave that in sewer surplus, which is extremely important. So we're very fortunate because it doesn't, and just so you know, sewer funds themselves, and the sewer itself does not touch the resident taxpayer. The only costs that are paid for, all costs that are paid for by users only. If you happen to be a residence that has hooked to the sewer, you have a sewer charge. The businesses downtown, the Harbor Crab, the Ore on the river, Blue Point, Copper Beach, Riverwalk, they're all hooked to the sewer. So the sewer system itself is driven by the users, not by the taxpayers. But that being said, this $1,430,000 that we're getting really helps us out because sewers, anything that breaks in the sewer, anytime you got to repair something, it starts out with high 5 figures and normally moves into 6 figures. So you're looking normally about $100,000 per repair. So being able to keep that $700,000 where it is extremely important. And having the ability to do some more, to upgrade the system, the stormwater system in that area is critical. So we've been very fortunate with grants over the years. This probably puts us at about, since '04, we've probably gotten about $55 million worth of various grants to do various projects and do various things. And I don't think there are too many communities that had that opportunity. But one of the things I think that those that give us grants realize, if you give it to us, we take care of it, you do it.
Just give me my pen.
So that's the, if you saw that, that's what that $1.4 million is going for. It's for sewer systems, it's for clean water, it's for those things that we as a community think are important. That being said, any other items, Mr. Brozak?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Request approval to make the following appointments. South Felice is going to be Department of Public Works. Joseph Keyes will be Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Superintendent. Working with Lori Devlin as Commissioner, Co-Commissioner of Building and Housing. Motion to accept is presented.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
So carried. As most of you know, we have an introducing to the public tonight, Sue Brinkman. Actually, Susan Hankey Brinkman. Susan has taken Bill Hilton's position. As some of you know her at the last board meeting, or saw her paper, Bill is, or has moved to Mascot on the Bay, or what do you call it? Yeah, but he bought a home on the Forge River. He walks out his back door, right down to the water. So, good for him. And one says bad for us, but we also have the opportunity to work with Susan, and I'm very excited for that. But one of the things that Bill has done over the past, since he's been on the board, and is extremely critical, is he has handled all special events, from the music festival in the summer, to the Christmas parades, to the Memorial Day parades, 4th of July parades. Every special event that happens in this village is the 7 or 8 5K races. You're right. He organizes and he puts them together. And what I've asked Billy to do is to continue doing that and work with us as a special events coordinator. So what I'd like to do is have a motion to appoint Bill Hilton as special events coordinator at an annual salary of $15,000.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Request approval for Deborah Newman and Nancy Howard to attend the annual New York State Town and Villages Conference for court clerks to be held in New York City, February 14th to the 17th, and a cost not to exceed $1,000 per person. Motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Request approval for Patricia Romeo, Justice, to attend the New York State Towns and Villages Conference for court clerks to be held in New York City from February 14th to the 17th, at a cost not to exceed $1,000.
We actually looked at 1,500 because there are some fees for her portion.
Okay.
I know, I should have put it on.
15, that's,
Was it 1,500?
that cost not to exceed 1,500. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Trustees, Seal, Krawczyk, Attorney Egan, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Smith with the BID Village Special Projects Report. And I'll start off with congratulations and welcome to Trustee Brinkman.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Look forward to working with you. I don't have much to report. There's not a lot going on. The Clementi Field, we went as far as we could with the work on that. We kind of buttoned it up a couple of weeks ago. We really are not going to do much more on that until the spring comes. We have the DEC permit, we can finish the fence and install the field, hopefully in March. We did walk the other two fields with Land Tech last week. We're looking to groom them for the sports seasons next year as well. I think we've decided to, we didn't get the price pulled back from them to do that, but whatever it is that we do, I think we're going to keep it light. Simply because, yeah, it's going to be something. We're going to make them playable. We're going to have them in better shape than perhaps what they are now and than what they were this past year. But to put a lot of money, particularly in the outfield, which could and probably will become part of the master plan when we get that back from Quinnell, that would be kind of ludicrous at this point, because we'd be doing something that we could go back and undo if we put a universal field encompassing the two outfields, which was part of the original plan. So we're waiting to hear and see what Land Tech says, but whatever it is, we're going to keep it as what we need and try to hold the cost down on that until we know exactly where we want to go. We are going to meet with Kevin Walsh, the engineer from VHP, on Wednesday. We're going to get an update on the engineering for the shorefront, for the shoreline. Again, that can't be 100% planned until we get the conceptual master plan back and we know exactly what it is that we want to do and what we can and can't do down that shorefront. But he's going to give us a little walkthrough and tell us about some of the stuff that he's been working on, give us a better idea of where we can go with that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was sidewalks. This past weekend, the village, at Mayor Pontieri's direction, had the sidewalk cleaned in front of the theater. It was power washed, totally clean, removed all the gum, and looks great. It actually cleans. As that was happening, the landlord from the building next door, from the Ackley building, Rob Seviero, I believe his name is, he was having a meeting with the mayor, he saw what was going on, he decided to have his sidewalk done. So now we have a nice clean stretch that goes from the theater all the way down to the end of the Ackley building, right before the Congregational Church. It looks really, really great. What I did is I asked him for a price to do the theater walkway, and he got back to me with that today. It's expensive, it's 6,100 square feet, we're going to round it off to 6,000. He usually goes, a buck a square foot, which would be a $6,000 price. But because this is slow time for him, he probably wouldn't even be working if we didn't have this kind of weather, and he wants to keep his guys working. We can get it done for less than that, something like 75 cents a foot, which would be roughly $4,000. What I'm looking to do is I want to approach Parabel and Public House, since they share that with us, and a lot of what is not right with that walkway is a direct result of them using the walkway.
Okay.
So I will keep you posted on that. Hopefully we can get that done in the next week or two, and we can share the expense with those two entities. The last thing I want to do on that note is to work with David in the chamber. Maybe we'll get a price to do block sections of sidewalk. We'll try to get 10 storefronts together, see how much it is, get a price, because he's not coming in to do one storefront, he's coming to do 10 storefronts. And if we're really successful with that, we can work out some kind of a program, hopefully spring into the summer of next year, and basically put up most, if not all, the sidewalks within the village. It's all water. I don't know where it's gonna go, but we'll give it a roll and see where it takes us. Unless there's any questions for me. I said it was short, I don't have a lot. In that case, I want to wish everybody here a Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Good evening, everyone. And I'll just, Dennis, thank you for those that information. I got those notes. I did see the mayor the other day as well. I happened to be there when they came in to talk to Mr. Severio about doing that. Let's take full advantage of that at that price. Maybe if we can get everybody to sign on, maybe we can even reduce the price a little bit more to make that happen. So thank you for that. I want to take this opportunity now to just say thank you to the village for all the support we got. We did try to run some aggressive holiday promotions this year, Small Business Saturday, and we did a little holiday stroll this past Saturday. Thanks for getting banners up and always working with us and supporting in what we're doing. We're very happy with the way things went. The parade was excellent. They capped off Small Business Saturday. And the ice sculptures that we brought in on Saturday held out for the whole day despite the 65-degree record weather. Who knew? When we ordered those, that would be, and it could have been an issue, but actually it turned out real nice. And we might even want to expand on it. It was really a Mediterranean man that brought them down. There was only 3 of them, but even those 3 got a really nice reaction from a lot of shoppers. A lot of people use it as an opportunity to send it around on social media. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that maybe next year, just to add a little more festive atmosphere down on Main Street. And another opportunity, something else that we're going to try to work on a little bit too. Part of that holiday stroll, we were contacted by a gentleman I think everybody knows or heard of. His name is Robert Fleming, a local history teacher, and he's been doing these little historic pub crawls. And these are very family-friendly pub crawls. They're early in the afternoon, and families do go. And this one in particular was something called a wassail, which is an English tradition that he really educated everybody what it was all about. That no one else does, and it's something maybe we could latch on to and make it a real holiday event on a yearly basis. So that was, there's about 30 people that joined us on Saturday, and again, it was families, it was mixed, and it was a great event, and we're going to try to even incorporate more of that next year. And on that same day too, we want to congratulate Kilwins. It's a great addition, and again, thanks to the village, because I know that took some changing of some laws, changing some codes to make that happen. So we're very appreciative of that, because it looks like Kilwins already is going to be an excellent addition to our downtown. Probably a lot of extra pounds on a few of us as well. So now we're on the next focus, obviously, is on Midnight on Main Street. Things are progressing really well. I'm happy to say, as of today, we're about 85% funded for everything we need to do to make that happen. The meeting that Dennis was referencing to is that we were talking to the property owner of the Ackerley building, Mr. Severio, about allowing us his roof space to expand on the grand illuminations display, and he is allowing us to do that, so that's going to move forward and add to it as well. We're very happy that L&G on Bay Avenue, the rigging company, is going to actually donate a rigging system for us to raise the ball, so it's going to be a much better system than we had last year with the bucket truck. It'll be a real first-class type of rigging system. He even he offers us the opportunity now to do it higher if we wanted to, maybe even go to do the old Times Square way, instead of rising the ball, lowering the ball to a higher platform to even make more respectable for next year, but we'll stay tuned for that and see how that works. And I do want to just remind you all that we have our holiday party on Wednesday, and everybody's invited to join us. We're going to be visiting 4 of our fine establishments on Main Street, doing our own little version of a pub crawl ourselves. So please, if you can, join us. And other than that, I'm looking forward to the new year. One thing, I know Dennis had started the conversation about incentives to subdivide some of these larger spaces. So it is a great opportunity to get the village and the chamber to meet once again. So, Patty, the mayor's got the busy schedule to give us a couple of days that would work, and look forward to moving that forward. And as you see on your agenda, there's the St. Patrick's Day. Isn't one of the next events? We're already starting to plan for that. So I don't know if you will wait to that time of the meeting to discuss the date and the timing of the parade.
Why don't you bring it up now, David?
Oh, sure, absolutely, absolutely. So, as you see, I did make a request that we're looking to do it a little bit different. Usually, if people are aware about Patchogue traditions, the St. Patrick's Day Parade was always the last Sunday in March. But this year, the calendar is put a little quirk in that Easter is the last Sunday in March this year. And then that means the previous Sunday would be Palm Sunday. And those are 2 days that obviously we really should avoid having the St. Patrick's Day Parade on. So our request is to do it that Saturday, the day before Palm Sunday, which would be March the 19th. There was a lot of back and forth about the timing. I'm trying to find a time that's early enough because that is a very important shopping day for merchants. A lot of people do their Easter shopping that weekend before, so we are looking to do a little earlier. We are going to ask for 10 o'clock as a start time for the race, and then the parade to follow immediately after that. So I put that out there to you guys as a request, and if anybody has any questions about it, let me know.
So 10 is,
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
The motion? Motion. Close Main Street. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Unless anybody has any other questions for the chamber, I also, sure, Tom.
Hey, I don't want to put you on the
Oh,
spot.
no problem.
We've talked a little bit about the restaurant organization doing some early morning cleanup.
Yes, that was brought up at the last restaurant committee meeting. I let them know that the chamber would definitely would support that, and I'm sure that the bid in the village would consider something too. So again, it was just kind of information they gathered in. There was nothing decided upon. I probably think maybe at the next restaurant committee meeting, maybe someone from the village to come down just to press the issue. Sometimes the restaurant owners do feel picked on, once in a while, so, exactly. But I think everybody agrees, and just for the public's edification, the Saturday after Thanksgiving in particular, when I was going around with the signs, we just noticed that the streets weren't as nice as they could be. And to depend on the village on a Saturday, on Thanksgiving weekend, to come out and do that is tough. So one thing we're asking is, at the very least, maybe some of the restaurants as a standard procedure to just before they close down, kind of hose out in front a little bit, or maybe hire a permanent person that's out there, in the evening on a Friday, Saturday night just to clean up. Particularly on that day, that being Small Business Saturday, the parade, it was a little disappointing to see it. It boggles the mind that people seem to like to pull plants out of planters. We don't get it. I recommend to our beautification committee to look at plants with thorns as a detriment, maybe, to think about, because it is disturbing to see that kind of behavior.
so nice holly.
Or holly, yeah, sounds good, whatever would
About
work.
5 years ago, we had 50 holidays. They lasted about 3 years before they
Really? They still got cold out?
The restaurant committee, subcommittee of the Chamber of Commerce, most of the restaurants belong to it, and they're really community oriented.
Yes.
They've given money to food pantries. They collected a bunch of money from some fundraisers and have compensated broken windows for their deductibles and things like that. And so they have money and they have the capacity to raise money. So I really would like to see them hire 2 guys at 2 a.m.
I mean, they did start this community fund, which they've been raising money for, and that's some of that money can be used for that. But I do, just to echo what Tom is saying, we get hundreds of requests in a month for gift certificates and participation in fundraisers by the restaurants, and it's very rare that they ever say no. So it is true that it's not always seen how charitable they are and how supportive they are of a lot of endeavors in the community, and that should
And
be
they're
right.
all opening restaurants in other places. They're so
We got
successful.
4 that have opened up in other locations. I think the tap room is opening up their second location this week at some point.
In Massapequa.
In Massapequa, correct. So we are actually breeding entrepreneur spirit, and it's spreading across Long Island, which isn't such a bad
So
thing.
days gone by when you had Squeezies and Riverhead, you had, which are your,
Right. So that's a good point. That's like a tradition that Patchogue does seem to spread the business around. So I don't know if anybody else has any questions for the chamber. I do want to also welcome Susan to the board. I've known Susan many years, and her father, as our village historian, is an amazing family, do a lot for the community, and I welcome you and look forward to working with you in the future. And I wish everybody here a Merry Christmas. I'll save the Happy New Year until when I see you guys down on New Year's Eve on Main Street.
That sounds good. Thanks, Dave.
I have one other thing before we move on that I neglected. There's a computer company, a web-based management system reporting financials, and it's called OpenGov. And what it allows us to do is to take our financial data, both current and historical, and to be able to put them in graphing form so we can take a look at the issue that Tom brought up, retirement. We made the transfer on retirement. In fact, and to actually put it in a graph form so that we can both present it when we do budget, we can present it for the board members and present it for the public. It's in a much clearer fashion than the 37-page document. And then you ask to take a look at the last three, and I'd lay them out and say, okay, and then go to Ann, and can you give me the numbers for the last? This will allow us to do a search going back. Correct, Mr. Grossman?
Correct.
And Mark Grossman is with the company, and to allow us to be able to really kind of clarify the things that we have in our budget and our finances as we go forward, taking a look at, and many times, a lot of times when you're doing budget, you take a look at the last 3 years, the last 5 years to determine which costs are going to be now. And this will clarify that, make it easier for us, make it easier for us to present our budgets to you, the public. And it's not even that expensive a proposition either. It's about, I think it's $1,000. It's $1,000 for the software, and it's $3,500 a year to manage it. And what I'm asking for tonight is an approval based upon Mr. Krawczyk and Deputy Treasurer Monty to review the program, because we don't have a board meeting before the end of the year, and we get a better price than we do before the end of the year. So what I'd like to do is have them pending their approval. Our approval pending their approval. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Krieger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a wonderful weekend. Spent most of it on the streets, Patchogue Village in Main Street. Ovations Dance Studio performed the Nutcracker, which my daughter was a performer. She was a little mouse and an angel. And I just want to give her how proud we are of her and all the people that were in the show. It was a great show.
Is she either of those, Jackie?
What's that?
Is she either of those in real life?
But I just want to give credit to Ovations Dance Studio. You know, they're a company that have been with the theater for 14 years now. And this weekend, estimate about a little over 3,000 people they brought to Main Street for their shows. And nobody could have picked a better weekend than Kilwin's to open. Because people were in there, you know, get out of the theater, go into Kilwin's. I happen to have been there about 5 times, but the stores, the restaurants, were doing great business. And it's just another credit to the Patchogue Theater for bringing in shows like that. And that's what a community theater does. You know, if the theater was owned by some conglomerate somewhere, I don't think we would have the Nutcracker Suite by Ovations Dance Studio. And you wouldn't have all those people in the village celebrating, so give them
And local kids on stage.
And local kids on the stage, exactly. So bravo to Ovations and the Patchogue Theater, who are getting ready to bring Gateway in. Gateway Theater with Cinderella. And then they're doing the Rat Pack for the holiday season and New Year's Eve. And then it's closing time at the theater. So they'll be closed for about 2 months? Yeah. 2 months for new seats and new, so a little bit of a facelift. So with that in mind, I would like to request approval to declare the seats that will be removed from the Patchogue Theater as having no value and to declare them as excess, directing the Department of Public Works to dispose of the seats.
Motion. in favor?
Aye.
Request approval to set a public hearing to amend section 415-14 to prohibit stopping, standing, or parking of vehicles on the north side of East 2nd Street from Waverly Avenue to a point 100 feet east therefrom. That's by the police station,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Yes,
This is on that, this is a request from the Suffolk County Department of Public Works.
I figured that, yeah. So that's still East 2nd Street, even though it's
Yes.
sort of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one driveway.
Yeah, the little store.
There is.
Yeah.
There's a house there too.
Yeah.
A lot of cats.
So that's a motion.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
January 11th is our first board meeting of the new year.
And finally, I'd like to request approval to hire Art Craft Associated to provide and install sheetrock on existing walls of the theater lobby, as well as repair, stain, and reapply satin finish where needed on woodwork, and also paint the walls at a cost not to exceed $21,200. Now, if you're familiar with the lobby of the Patchogue Theater, when they did the renovations back in 1996, the fire retardant on the wood did not cure properly. So if you look at it, there's a cloudiness to it, and that's all going to be repaired as part of this project. Yeah. So in fact, I've seen some tests.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference.
And what's nice about it, our craft associate is a local guy, Bob Korpak.
Yeah.
So staying in the community.
And he does a great job. I think he worked on the theater back then. He was part of the painting team. Yeah, he's a good guy and good Patchogue family.
Yep.
So that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Jack.
Number 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more.
Searles Map.
Yes, the request approval to hire Searles Media for website design, development, and implementation for the village's website at a cost not to exceed $10,000, as well as an additional monthly maintenance fee of $350. And we've been working on that for ideas and for that for quite a while, and I'm happy that we're going to finally get that off the ground.
Cell phone.
Yeah, the website will be more informative. You'll be able to get it on your iPhones and all those kind of different apps and stuff like that. It's great. A lot more informative and a good resource for anybody who's in the village.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have one more thing. If you are a village resident, make sure you get your parking sticker for next year. They look like this,
They're in.
okay? If you don't have that on your car after January 1st, then you're not supposed to park in the parking spaces. But is there a grace
Yeah,
period?
we give you first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks, okay. So make sure you have one of these on your car if you're a village resident, and you'll be able to park in the parking lots and any other permit parking areas free of charge. What's that? Except Main Street, yes. That's yes. And the parking meters, street meter parking, you still have to pay, but in the parking lots you don't have to pay. So if everybody would make sure they tell their family and friends to do that, that would be very helpful. It'll avoid people from getting tickets. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Keyes.
Mr. Mayor, fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen, very brief, I'm requesting approval to increase part-time employees to the minimum wage increase of $9 an hour, effective 12/31/15. It's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Requesting approval to hire the following winter staff effective 12/4/15. Richard Brown, $15 an hour basketball director, Wakan Potter, basketball instructor, $12 an hour. Robert Monty, volleyball staff, $8.75 an hour. That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think I've ever been this brief in 6 years.
Wait until the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Blessed New Year.
Commissioner
I'm up.
Department of Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick, want to say congratulations to Sue, and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
It'll be a pleasure. And also, I'd just like to thank Joe Keyes for helping me along in the transformation from building and housing into DPW. He's been a pleasure to work with. He's been very informative. And on that note, I would just like to further say that he's still working on the solar lighting poles and all like that, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Appreciate that. Quick report, loose leaf collection is almost complete. DPW planted the 4 trees that Trustee Devlin's been waiting for planting, so that's done. If you haven't noticed, they're working on the handicap ramps on, on West Main Street, on the sidewalks, making the handicap accessible. River Avenue sewer extension project's on schedule. And Joe also met with the Blue Point Brewery on the proposed sewer extension for them, which is just in the preliminary hearings because they have a lot of high-end waste, so got to look really seriously into that. And the demo of Church Street, we got some bids coming in and some numbers coming in, so we'll have to look forward to going through the numbers and see what we're going to do with that. I'd like to request an approval to hire Brian McCaffrey to assist in obtaining the environmental permits for the Mascot Dock project, and that's not to exceed $4,000. So it's a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So you know, that's what we received from FEMA, we're getting, is it $1.4 million? It is, another $1.4 million?
$1.4 million.
For the rebuilding of the Mascot Dock. Mr. McCaffrey will get the environmental permits needed and help move that project forward. One of the things that happens, you make one mistake with FEMA, they can claw back the whole $1.4 million after you're all done building it. So you bring in somebody that make sure it's done right, what you do, so more than that.
You don't realize the steps you have to go through to, get the proper permitting and all like that, DEC and all that stuff. It's just, it's a big undertaking before anything even starts. Having said that, I'd like to request approval to hire L.K. McLean for additional work in conjunction with the preparation of traffic control plans for Ocean Avenue and Main Street and Ocean Avenue and Oak Street intersections.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, I neglected to put the amount.
What was it, 650? Yeah, $6,650. Not to exceed.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to request approval to purchase one 7-foot Western Tornado, which is a small salt spreader, from Trias in the amount not to exceed $4,500.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one last thing, I'd like to request approval to hire AES to conduct soil sampling, lab analysis, and prepare a summary report for the property located at 27 Church Street in the amount not to exceed $5,250.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's the property that we bought, we're buying, in the process of buying.
This is for the full phase 1 for the project. As part of the contract of sale, the village had an exception for environmental concerns. And so we thought it best that we would buy a pig in a poke, so to speak, to conduct the entire phase 1 on the property. So that's
And I think at some point, we'll probably have to look at the ingress and egress of that whole parking lot. I noticed this past weekend, people were trying to go in and out the same way, like by where the Chinese places, so we'll have to take a good look at that when the time comes. And that's all I have. I'd like to just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
Trustee Ferb.
Mr. Mayor, fellow trustees, Brian and Patty, and Susan. Susan and I worked together the early part of the century on the zoning board.
Early part of the century. Take it easy. I was there too. That makes us feel old.
I'd like to wish one of our regular attendees a very happy birthday back there in the audience. She's not going to acknowledge. Joe Miller.
Happy birthday, Joseph.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Can I say hello?
Yeah.
55. Joe's 80 years old on the 12th.
Thanks, John.
Hey, Joe, I'm not that far behind you. I'll be 72, no, I'll be 71 next week, the weekend.
She's gonna whoop you for saying that.
Yes, she's my next door neighbor. She throw a brick over. First, major projects. The most exciting news, and I think a lot of us have been waiting for it for a long time. Four Corners has finally rented Four Corners. Okay, the retail space at the corner of North Ocean Avenue and Main Street, about 8,000 square feet, is going to be rented to a national renowned restaurant. They're in Mohegan Sun. They're opening 12 new places, and their flagship restaurant is going to be in Patchogue. One door down on Main Street, we're getting a white tablecloth Italian restaurant, Primo Platti, First Plate, or something like that. They're in Huntington, and I hope they have good bolognese. Karen hopes that the one that goes on Four Corners has clam bellies, but I'm not too excited about that. So, that's about 16,000 square feet of retail space on Main Street, North Ocean Avenue, which, we were all looking at that saying, what's going on? I know there are not a lot of lights in Four Corners, but it's 95% leased, okay? Just 5% left out of the 290 odd apartments, so they're very happy people. Riverwalk has 162 units, all but 35 are sold. So, I mean, this is a really successful real estate set of real estate activities. Let's see what else I have on this list.
It's Primo Piatto.
Primo Piatto. Joe, you looked it up on the web?
Yeah.
You're live over there?
138 East Main Street, Huntington.
It's going to be
It's the main entrance to New Village from Main Street is like one unit down, and then the next place is the Italian restaurant. You should see their menu, by the way. It's fantastic.
I'm looking
You're looking at it. Okay.
for your bolognese.
Then I want to make a couple of comments. I've got some real business tonight too, by the way. Our financial watchdogs, Ron Krawczyk and Marie Monti, deserve a whole bunch of credit. We've all borrowed money, right? And when you borrow money, your credit rating is the most important thing. It not only determines whether or not you get money, but it determines how much you pay for it. And municipal governments, we have our own credit agency. We have Standard & Poor's, I'm sure you've all heard of it. We just got upgraded to a AA. That's for all of our outstanding bond issues and for all that we might do in the future. So we got $3 million, 15-year note. It's about $1 million of it's going into the theater. This theater renovation is about $1.5 million. We're going to do some sewer work with it. We're going to do some street work. And we're going to buy some things with it. We got 2.168% interest. And Ron and Anne Marie have sort of guided us through, keep us on track, keep us from making big mistakes, which a lot of villages do. And a real vote of thanks goes to them. He's still in the room.
It's not us, it's everybody here.
Well, Paul certainly gets some credit.
Paul gets a lot of
Not too much.
Paul did, thank you.
Okay. Do what you're told to do. All right. These ramps, these handicap ramps, DPW, but also the Community Development Association, CDA. That's one of the things that CDA does. They set aside money for improving your downtown, and a lot of we have to spend the money by December 31st, or the government takes it back. So we're doing our best to get it spent. It will be. Okay, then I have a couple of. You've all seen the Stottinger Arch, or if you haven't, I recommend you take a look at it. It's down the street on Main Street, south side, next to the Huff Route, right? And Gino's. It's a beautiful work of art. It was manufactured by Spirit Iron Works, which is a local blacksmith, believe it or not. It cost about $20,000. About half that money came from private contributions of individuals, and the other half of the money came from the CDA. Well, that's the first of several arches. Sometime back, we allocated $19,000 from one of the Suffolk County revitalization grants, Grant 10, towards the purchase of a row walkway arch. It was going to be a sort of modern-looking. I don't want to be disparaging, but instead we're going to engage Spirit Iron Works to do another work of art. It's going to be tall enough that a trailer truck can go underneath it because the alleyway that they're putting it on has to have truck access. And it's beautiful. It's got sailboats on it. It's got music on it. It's got all the themes of the village of Patchogue.
And the rotate.
And yes, yeah. And you know, a Roe invented the tape measure, the metal tape measure.
At that spot.
At that spot, right. He invented the tape
If
measure.
you have a tape measure at home, the first one was made, downtown Patchogue.
They had 4 manufacturing facilities all over the world. And so they devised this metal tape that you could roll up and put acid on to etch in the inches and stuff like that. Pete Rowe's dad, right? Or grandfather? Maybe great-grandfather. I don't have the history. But, so there will be tape measures on this arch. But I'm making a motion that we, let's see, I better just read this. Request approval to obligate a $19,000 Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization Round 10th grant toward the purchase of the road walkway arch that will be designed and fabricated by Spirit Ironworks in the amount of $36,679. The CDA will provide the additional funding needed. That's a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Big project. Mrs. Devlin.
Did you do the road?
Greater Patchogue Foundation.
We did it already.
Oh, we did?
Oh, David did it. We
Oh, David.
Alright.
to run.
Come on, please.
That's your turn. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, Susan. It's very exciting to have another woman on the board, someone I can work closely with. Planning and zoning, building and housing, put it all together. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to everybody. I just have a couple of things tonight. First, I'd like to request approval for an additional $3,000 for VHB to conduct the previously approved light study, bringing the total to $28,000 for the project.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd just like to let Tom know that they do have bolognese on the menu.
I know they don't. It's good.
Cordell, so I just give a little bit of an art report. If you're looking to see a film, there's a lot of good things at the Plaza Cinema in the Art Space building right now. Through Thursday, you can still catch Trumbo, which I saw, which was an excellent movie. You can still catch Labyrinth of Lies through Wednesday. Then Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. In their Culture and Cinema, what do they call it? Okay, something like that. But they do live performance in cinema, that's what it's called. And they have a performance of the Nutcracker. Tom saw it over the weekend. It's choreographed by Rudolf Nureyev, and it's supposed to be fantastic. So that's Thursday night. And then starting Friday and through next week, they'll have Brooklyn. I know a lot of people have been waiting to see the movie Brooklyn. So you can check out any of those films at Plaza Cinema. There's still a beautiful exhibit up at Patchogue Arts Council, which is called Portrait Self-Portrait. So while you're going to Plaza Cinema, hope you're heading there and take a look. I believe that the Art Space residents have their annual gift show up. They had it this past weekend, and they'll have their gallery open. I believe it will be open next weekend with the artists who live in the building offer various things that they create for sale as Christmas gifts. And then finally, as Sal mentioned, we did plant a couple of trees on Main Street. We got some nice alcovas on sale at the end of the season. We put one in front of the Kerry Bay Mini Mart and 2 in the vicinity of Laval's office near Parabellum Theater. And then we have some plans to put some more trees in next spring. So other than that, I have nothing else to report tonight.
Ms. Brinkman, welcome.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to all of the trustees and everyone here that welcomed me so warmly. I'm very excited to be here. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to some really great projects here in the village. I have a building and housing report for us this evening. The monthly end ticket count for November. Vehicle and traffic this month 103, last month was 157. Building and housing this month 13, last month 0. And quality of life this month 72 and last month 33. Second, we have request approval to waive the fee for a demolition permit in the amount of $250 for the Patchogue Fire District's demolition of 29 Jennings Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have 2 additional late items for the agenda. Number 3 on mine will be request approval to increase Robert Waldbauer's salary from $2 to $22.50 for completing code compliance training part 2.
$20.
20 to
$20.
Oh, 20.
That's my fault.
He's working.
The last time they paid that is when his uncle was getting it.
Hire 11.
I didn't even make that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, he'd done additional training that will benefit all of us. It really does.
And number 4, resolution to set a public hearing for an amendment to Chapter 210 of the Village Code prohibiting pile foundations in anything but V zones, velocity zones.
Mr. Reed?
This is a request from the building department on FEMA reimbursements. This has to be changed to our flood prevention chapter, which FEMA will pay for the enclosed foundations, which most of the people who have elevated their houses have been requesting. However, if it's not specified in our code, FEMA will cap your reimbursement at a pile foundation and not an enclosed foundation. So to give the option for the full FEMA reimbursement for the closed foundation, the building department requested that we amend our chapter to include this provision.
January 11th also for that?
Yes, that's fine.
And I wish everyone a very Merry
Just need a
Christmas.
second on that.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. I really enjoyed attending the menorah lighting on Main Street. That was a really exciting event.
That's always fun, right?
It was wonderful. And a Happy New Year as well.
Before we go to the public, again, for myself and the board, I wish you all a wonderful and have a great holiday. And prosperous New Year. And just a reminder, this is the only board meeting this month. Next board meeting is what date?
January 11th.
January 11th. Public to be heard. Comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Foster Aviano, 21 Lakeshore Drive, Patchogue, New York. Congratulations, Sue. It's been a long time since I saw you. Brian, Sal, Mr. Ferb. I'm here tonight because I'm having difficulty at my home. I live across the street from Father Tortura Park. I work nights, obviously. I'm in my work attire because I'm going to work from here, so it's very difficult for me to make these meetings. So I did miss the meeting, which was a neighborhood watch initiation, we'll call it, for some people in my neighborhood, and they passed a motion to have some signs put up around Father Tortura Park. I believe it's 12 in a 1-block radius, which is in itself a sign of illusion, I think. But moving further from that, my family had donated part of this property in recent years, maybe 60 or 70 years ago. I've lived here my whole life. My mother has also lived in the same house for approximately 60 years. I am very proud that you are doing a wonderful job in our community, and you're doing a great job in the village, and I commend all of you, especially the mayor. Wonderful job. I'm here because I need help. I have a quality of life issue. I received 3 tickets for parking across the street from my house, which I've been accustomed to doing my whole life, and so has the rest of my family and my family members that come to my house for holidays. I can't speak for everyone else in the neighborhood, and around the park I know that there's only 4 houses. I know Mrs. Rizzi is one of them, and I'm sure she was not happy that her dinner party was interrupted to move a vehicle that was parked in front of the park. And my neighbors who have holidays and have large families, Mr. Kubi, who is here behind me tonight, he has 1 parking space now left available to park in front of his house. 1 space. I have 3 spaces. I have myself, my car, my wife's car, my 2 sons, my daughter, and my mother. I have 3 spaces to park. I did add a separate driveway so that during the snow and snow emergencies, I can take my cars off the road, which I can fit in my driveway if necessary and need be, which I have done for many years in the past. In the history that I've lived there, I rescued 3 people from the lake from drowning: Billy LaJaco, Ricky Gulsher, and an anonymous guy who was drowning in a canoe with his children. I have made probably 75% of every call that you have received for the Father Tortura Park in the past years. My house directly faces the park. None of your neighborhood watch people can actually see the park. They have no view of the park. They live there, but they are blocked in their view by the garage. And the other neighborhood watch captain, I think, is on 4th Street, so also has no view of the park. He did, however, follow my daughter around with a spotlight while she was jogging in the street, which I'm sure if you have a daughter that's 18 or 19 years old, you would not appreciate a man of his age shining a light on your daughter while she's jogging around the neighborhood. That is not neighborhood watch. I feel that I have provided a service for my community in watching the park and preventing people from doing nefarious things, mischievous things, and illegal things. I've been watching it my whole life. My mother's been watching it for when I'm not available in the years past. I can say that I've seen a lot of bad things, but I've seen so much improvement in the park in terms of the people that are using it during the day and the enjoyment that people get out of the park is great. It's phenomenal. All the equipment in the park is nice and everything else is fine. The bigger issue, which was not probably discussed or addressed, or maybe we overlooked or made a mistake as a group of people in a small community, in a small neighborhood. Thursday and Friday, I made 11 calls to code enforcement myself. That was from sitting on my front porch about violations that were occurring just in my immediate view. I don't want to snitch on my neighbors, but I need my neighbors to pull together and understand that we have a bigger problem here of parking. There are 2 signs at the dead end of 4th Street because they were added several years ago because the neighbors were feuding. And the village installed 2 signs, one on each side of the dead end, as to not allow either of the families to park there. And what that really did was it kind of log jammed Shore Drive for fire department, any rescue service or apparatus to be going down the road at any time. It's a very difficult and narrow drive. It has happened because there is no parking on the end of 4th Street. I did, however, see that someone personally removed one of the signs, which I am very thankful for, although I know it's illegal. I know that there is one sign now gone from there. I know that a new person has moved into the house where the sign still is sitting on the south side. I think that it would be a great advantage to not only those people to allow them to park there as well, which I'm sure if I went and expressed to them, they've only been living there about 15 days, I'm sure they would be in agreement that they would want to park next to the side of their house if they could, rather than blocking Shore Drive and causing all these cars to be stacked up in the road. As far as the signs go in front of my house directly, what I am requesting from the board for immediate action, because we are having such a conflict between constables, is it a law, is it not a law? As I see it, a permit sticker, like Jack showed us, is not an answer to the solution, because if I have 4 kids that park in front of my house, and we have people come over for dinner, or even one visitor, they have to park 5 houses down in front of my neighbor's house who already has no parking. So now he's out of parking. My neighbor to the left of me parks on his lawn because he has no parking. So I think that the big moral of the story for the last neighborhood watch was to prevent any bad things from happening in the park. But I can assure you that as a citizen of my community. I will continue to watch the park, and I will be diligent on how I see things in the park. One of the solutions may be, and it may have been overlooked, is that on 2nd Street, which is along the cemetery, which is now the through way, and the apartments where there is now a fire swing gate on Central Avenue, they are both freeways to drug sales and people walking through the cemetery to avoid conflict with the constables and to avoid detection from police officers. I have first-handedly seen it. I've called, but it happens much too fast because they're on foot and they know exactly what they're doing. I can only say that I would be more than happy to watch those areas, but I can't see 2nd Street from my home. So I think maybe the signs that you put up around the park, specifically in front of my house, should probably be more on 2nd Street on the south side, so that people aren't parking there where I can't see and shooting heroin and having sex and throwing used condoms out in the street and defecating in the cemetery. I think these are all things that by putting the no parking signs there, not only do the dead people not care about seeing the signs, but I think it will protect the property as well. As far as in front of my home and Mr. Kubi's home on 22 Lakeshore Drive, I diligently watch those spaces in front of my house. I have never ever seen anyone park there that doesn't belong there. And if I had, I would immediately call code enforcement or the precinct if it's something that I see necessary. But this inconvenience that this neighborhood watch program has caused my family and my neighbors is a big setback for us in a very small area. And we're talking about 4 houses that have no parking at all. And holidays are coming, my family's upset, that doesn't even live in Patchogue, have expressed concern about should they take a cab, should they valet cars in jest and in joking. And I find it very insulting that I live in a community that we're so friendly and close together that they have to make jokes about that and that they have to valet their cars to park in front of my home. And I value the opinion of the board, and I had spoke to Jack last week on a personal level, and I spoke to Mr. Felice on a personal level. They obviously knew my passion, my concern, my excitement, my frustration. I thought maybe there would be a possibility of the signs coming down prior to this meeting so I could just come here and say thank you. I don't see that as happening as yet, but I am sure with the help of my neighbors that are behind me today, they may encourage you to possibly solve the problem that we're having this evening and to not make the holidays as upsetting as they could if we had no place to park. I commend you all for your job in the village. Congratulations again, Susan. I hope you all enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Comments?
Hi everybody, my name is John Gessner. I live at 84 Central Avenue. And it's funny this is coming up because as our kids get older, they take up more space in the driveway. You know, I just had a daughter, she got a license. And I too, we have a camper, we have 3 cars, now she's getting the car. I had to put another driveway in. But you know, we really overlooked this when we were doing the stuff with the park. And I really think that the signs on the northeast corner of the park, the no parking signs they put up, I think they should be removed. And like Foster said, his mother's been parking there. I've been in the neighborhood 16 years. My wife Pam has been there her whole life, and her car has been there, you know. And I just think that, and they should be removed and put on 2nd Street along the cemetery, because there is still, people hanging out there at night. I mean, it's 10 times better since we had the problem with the house that was there. They fixed that problem. The people are great, but I really think they should be removed and put along Second Street. And that's it. Have a good holiday.
My name's Ronaldo Kluge, 42 Lakeshore, just pull up with way. Forrester said he's 25%, I'm the other 25% that does the call in 475-1225, top of my head. Fantastic job they do, really. The park has been a very good point when I bring my family over who have young kids, my niece and my nephew, summertime. They stop by, we're at the pool, after the pool, we jump into the park. Jack as well, good kids in there with your wife. It's a fantastic little park, I like it a lot. Now, the parking's really the issue. There is no parking. I have a sign on the Lakeshore Drive, in the corner of my property, it says no parking on Lakeshore Drive to 3rd Street, East 3rd. Now, there's another sign across from my house that says no parking. Because nobody can park in front of my house, and now I have one spot left. My wife, who is from Patchogue as well, one of 7, we have a big family. We had 20 people over for Thanksgiving. It was fantastic. I had to pop my head out a couple of times to make sure that there's no tickets out there. So please, if the signs could be removed on 3rd Street, East 3rd, and put on 2nd Street, that would be fantastic. And myself, I do watch that park at night. I'm a light sleeper, I hear a lot. One got by me, that was the
worst of all.
Yes.
And we were away.
Yes, that was the spray painting on all the equipment in the park. I was really upset, but that was an oversight for me. It's not going to happen again. I'm going to leave my window open a little bit. If I can catch that critter, that'd be fantastic. But please listen to us. That is definitely parking for my family. We all should not have to worry about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'm Joanna Gerato, Foster's mom, and I live at 21 Shore Drive.
Mom.
They're gonna make me laugh. But I agree with all of them, what everyone said. I understand why they did it. They want to see what's going on in the park. I've been watching the park for the last, however long the park has been there, I've been watching. I lived in the house for almost 70 years, and my father would donate land with Mr. Martino. That's how the park got there. A lot of people don't know that. So we watch the park as our own property. And the village has done a fabulous job of keeping it up and doing everything they're supposed to do. And I really request that those signs be taken down because it's a hardship for our community, our neighbors in that community, who are practically all related to one another. And we all have big families. Thank you, gentlemen. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. Any other comment? About Mr. Kemp?
Mr. Kemp, is this about the parking by the park?
Okay, so let's finish that and then we'll...
Jack?
Yes, John.
Also, there's a stop sign missing on East 3rd and Lakeshore. There's supposed to be a stop sign there on the corner. And that sign's missing for a long time.
Brian, you have,
Yeah. I think that's a solution, I think it is. Let's finish comments on this.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
What was that stop sign?
Lakeshore and East 3rd. There's supposed to be a stop sign there. I almost got I work for the town, so one morning I was coming up early in the morning, and I came around that corner and somebody just blew right through, and I almost wound up in Foster's driveway. So, but there is supposed to be a stop sign there.
Any other
make
comments
sure that
on
we
the
have
other
a
situation?
stop sign at that corner.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Donna Handel. Good evening. I also
Sorry,
live on
could you
Lake...
say your name again?
Donna Handel. I live on Lakeshore Drive. I was one of the, my husband and I were here the night of the meeting for the Neighborhood Watch, and you guys were unbelievable. I mean, it was great. And the issue really wasn't about the parking, and we sort of overlooked that, I guess. It was more about everything else that's happening when, I take my grandchildren there. We all know that whole story of what happens at the park. So I just want to say that I also was at the Neighborhood Watch meeting, and I agreed with everything, but I'm also in favor of the signs coming down. I don't live directly there, but you can't even get a car through our street some days. And I love the street. I guess we're fairly new because we're only here 11 years, and I see that this is a town of, yes, of everybody here for a very long time. And it's a great village. We came from Devlin. So I just want to say that we're also in favor, even though we were at the neighborhood watch, we are in favor of the signs coming down. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment?
Good night.
Brian, you said you had a thought?
So, what I thought to do is the Foster, Mrs. Avila, of course, good to see you guys tonight.
Hi.
There are, the parking and stop sign codes are a little complicated, but what I would suggest to do is if the board's inclined, take the suggestion for the removal of those signs, just have Joe Dean review whether those are actual in the code, because they are a little bit ambiguous in some of those spots where the jurisdiction might be. For instance, that the code does not reflect a stop sign at Lakeshore and East 3rd, believe it or not.
It's a short, narrow corner, that's why it's very difficult.
So
But
that might be a public hearing we'd have to have in the future to add one?
that's why there is a no parking sign in front of Ronaldo's house, because that corner is so tight. When you take the corner around there, even though there's a very wide road, the berth is very wide of the road, but if you're going right, then the sign would be basically not viewable because of the curve of the road.
Yeah.
So it's not a true corner as it is a round corner. And yes, John is correct, and we live across the street from that. So I have seen an instance where you just get a head on. It's been something that's been a long time there, our whole lives. I've never seen an accident there, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. I think that since there's so many cars in the road and there's so many other things there right now, except for that spot, because there's no parking, like Gene had said, or Donna, sometimes if Ronaldo parks his car on that corner even, it's very difficult to see him coming out of his driveway or to see a kid on 3rd Street. So part of the no parking sign that's in front of his house is necessary. That's why it was put there, because this way you have a clear vision of people at least coming down 3rd Street. You can see a headlight, or, you can see something coming at you. But in terms of the stop sign, I don't know that it would be viewable without being on top of it. I'm sure that you'll see that when you go to the address. But that is why Ronaldo has no parking in front of his house, because I remember in the past administration when they put the sign up, why they put it there.
Yeah. So, I think that neighborhood is close, it's tight in some of the intersections, on where they are with huge sheds and stuff like that. I think what we might want to do is have Joe Dean this week review the sign inventory that's there, remove the signs that are not in complete compliance with the code, because I don't see any of the parking signs in the park. So we might want to have those removed and then reevaluate it at a public hearing as to where they might be.
Well, according to the people who live around there, they don't even want the signs. So.
Seconds and thirds.
Yeah, I'd say what we.
Second Street is necessary.
Remove the signs, 1 second. We'll make a decision. I think what we should do is, I think if we want to comply with what it seems the neighbors around the park want to do, I think we should just have the no parking signs completely taken down. And if Foster is going to be the neighborhood watch for that area.
As long as you don't title me that. If you don't title me that, I would love to continue my village.
I would hope that you can continue to be neighborly neighbors, because I'm hearing 2 sides of this story. And I would like to hear one side of the story where everybody is in agreement, and that maybe Ronaldo and Foster and everybody else who's not part of the neighborhood watch join the neighborhood watch and be a part of the neighborhood, because we have some people, and it's not just around the park that there's an issue. I understand that somebody on Central Avenue had all their Christmas lights stolen. Yeah. Okay? Those are your neighbors too.
Right.
And what happens at that park affects those people too, not just the people who live around the park. And I do understand what you're going through. And I understand it too. In front of my house, we have no parking without permit because of the college. okay? So understand that what happens around the park does not only affect you guys, but it affects everybody. And that we have to be neighborly, and whatever's going on down there has to stop. Because it's not neighborly. And you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. They never even told us that they were going to bring it up, and they're next door neighbors who have had dinner with us.
I'm sorry. I can't tolerate that.
I can't either. I've lived there too long. I've never fought with any of my neighbors, and neither did my parents.
Exactly. So maybe something should go, maybe you should join the neighborhood watch and be a part of it. And we'll move the signs, but as soon as there's problems at that park, and it's because people are parking around there at night, we can't, and if somebody's parked there and they're just sitting in their car doing nothing, they're not breaking the law.
You know,
And
the
if-
people have
excuse
been
me,
parking there.
If people are parking and sitting there and a couple are making out in that car, they're not breaking the law, are they?
They're registered and licensed.
Right? So just realize that people will be allowed to park there at night, as late as they want.
All night.
All night if they want.
Just as long as they're not in the park.
breaking the law.
As long as they're not in the park.
As long as they're not in the park.
Got it.
Okay?
That's right.
That's how it's been.
That's always how it's been.
Okay.
Thank you.
So just
Thank you very
realize
much.
that. And again, let's be a little more neighborly than what's going on now. And I would suggest again that you all join the neighborhood watch and be a part of that. Because it's important in our neighborhood. We've all been living there a long, long time. I've been there 58 years. Foster, you've been there forever.
I'm younger than you, so I...
Yeah.
I've been there 70 years. So.
Yeah, you're there 70 years. This is not the time to...
We will not.
All right,
Takes a lot to break apart a family.
We're gonna have more neighborhood watch meetings, and I expect to see you people there because you have an alternate view.
I work nights. I'm sorry if I can't
Your
come at
wife
night.
could come, or
I'll
somebody...
come. When is the next meeting? When is the next
We'll
meeting?
talk about it, and we'll see when the next meeting is. But if I don't see you guys at that meeting, then
Who informs us of the neighborhood watch meetings?
they did. They sent out
We are not on.
We're not on their list.
Flyers and email.
We don't get any of
We don't get any of it.
Then I will make sure you get it.
I will accept that. Thank you very much.
They're just not neighbors that belong in our neighborhood, in my opinion.
Everybody belongs in our neighborhood.
No, they don't.
Everybody
Jack.
belongs in our neighborhood.
I'm afraid some people don't.
This is Patchogue. There was a time when people like us didn't belong in the
Oh,
neighborhood.
no, my family, my grandfather came here and couldn't speak English, so
Right, and they
he built the
belong in the
neighborhood.
neighborhood too. So everybody belongs in our neighborhood. We got a brand new family right by the Gester's house there. A new family in our neighborhood.
We have three. We have one right next door to me and one 2 doors down from that. And they're afraid to come here because they're afraid.
Afraid of what?
They're afraid that the neighbors that had the signs put up will retaliate. That's so they didn't want to be part of it.
No, it's not gonna happen.
I understand that, but I can't tell a new person
We're
that.
their neighbor, though. We're part of the neighborhood watch. We wouldn't do anything.
There you go.
I'm in between both of them. I would never do anything.
Exactly.
I'm part of the neighborhood watch, like I
Yeah.
said, and I
So,
love
yeah, we're gonna keep.
Thank you very much,
One
Jack.
second.
It's on
Thank
you.
you.
It's on
But
you.
this is something that's gotta stop.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing, and thank you so much for hearing us.
All right,
Thank you very much.
we're taking the signs down.
Take them down on,
Taking them down,
leaving them
on Shore, Third,
And Central.
and Central, leaving them up on only the north side,
Right.
the south side
South side.
with the cemetery.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Second, the north side of South Street.
Yeah.
That's a motion.
that's a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Kemp, did you have?
Evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees. Mr. Mayor, it's very interesting to hear Trustee Krieger say that he would like to hear both sides of the story, because when I was here and requested a public hearing for a no parking zone from the side opposite my house, I was denied rebuttal. And everybody voted against. They listen to people who outright lied. Numerous people. They told half-truths. And I have all the minutes, which I am very disappointed to. I am sickened every time I look at these minutes. They are flawed with lies and lies upon lies. They are flawed by opening remarks that were made by our attorney.
What's the date of that?
I made a flawed statement?
Never.
How dare you?
You made
Mr.
an
Kemp, hold on a
opening
second. Wait,
remark.
Mr. Kemp. A right of rebuttal on a parliamentary procedure does not mean you don't get both sides. You and I have had this debate for many years. You presented your case. You wanted no parking or restricted parking on Jennings Avenue. Your neighbors came out and said they did not want it. So guess what? That's one
They
side.
lied.
Okay, but they're entitled to their
Not okay.
they're entitled to their opinion.
Means a lot.
So you had your opinion, they had theirs. You wanted no parking, you wanted no parking, they wanted the parking, the board voted, and that's how the issue was decided. That's it. Mr. Kemp, you continue to go back to the same issue, we talk about this all the time.
All right, I addressed this
And
matter.
now I'm flawed.
Yes, because you made opening remarks at that public hearing, which are not part of the minutes. And I questioned you shortly after that hearing about why the minutes do not contain your opening remarks. And your answer was there was a malfunction with the recording equipment.
That has happened.
Now, if you follow the rules of Robert's parliamentary procedure,
To the T.
if the minutes are flawed and it is brought to the board's attention and the minutes are to be corrected, the minutes to be corrected should be the page, not when it was brought to the board's attention.
Mr. Kemp, you talk about Robert's rules. If we follow Robert's rules to the letter, all we need to put in are motions and votes. We do not have to put in verbatim minutes. We do that as a courtesy to the public, so the public has as much information about what happens at a board meeting as we could possibly do. So what we really do is we follow Robert's rules in the sense of parliamentary, how we operate. But we don't follow Robert's rules in terms of what they recommend. They recommend very clearly, if you've read Robert's rules, very clearly that they make the recommendation that we do not take verbatim minutes. And we attempt in any way that we can to take verbatim minutes. So don't go there with the minutes because you'll almost force us to stop taking verbatim minutes because if you're going to get criticized because of a mistake here or a mistake here, an omission there, or an omission there.
I think in the interest of being fair, that number one, that the village should institute a policy whereby at public hearings, every speaker is given an oath to tell the truth. This is a standing policy with the town of Brookhaven. And secondly, I also believe that
if they broke that oath, what Mr. Egan could be our
perjury charge?
That rebuttal. The second point I'm trying to make is that at the town of Brookhaven, for example, rebuttal is almost a right. There is no question about it. In fact, rebuttal is encouraged from every meeting that I have ever watched.
I think
from the apartment rental to Board of Trustees to every board from the town of Brookhaven. That is their policy.
One of the things you also see very clearly with the town of Brookhaven, there's no conversation between the supervisor or the council people and the person making comment. And they're very strict about the time limit. We're not strict about the time limit. We do answer questions from the public as we did with the prior. We try to be as open with what we do as possible. If you want us to go to the process that the town of Brookhaven follows, which is 3 minutes, I think it is. Then your time would be about up now. And no comments by any of the council, or the trustees, or the mayor. I wouldn't want to do that, but I would take that recommendation under advisement and discuss it with the board.
All right.
If that's where you're going with this, and that's what you would like, I can make that happen.
The only two things that I think are fair and in the best interest of everyone is institute an oath to tell the truth, and the right of rebuttal should be given to every applicant. And furthermore, if you follow Robert's rules, an attorney does not have the right to speak and make a statement that an attorney has the right of rebuttal.
Understand something. This chair and this gavel and my oath that uphold decorum during the meeting, to take comment by the public, also allows me to address any of the board members that sit here, ask council for recommendations and a response, as I could ask the village clerk for the same. So,
Through the chair.
Everything happens through the chair.
But not when Attorney Egan speaks
He never
to give counsel right of rebuttal on the hearing for the house and the corner of North Ocean Avenue and Thorn Street.
Okay.
It's not okay. And that's
That's what I'm
something
saying.
that...
I don't have, what are the dates of those minutes?
The hearing for, when I asked for across the street was September 26, 2011. And I foiled for the hearing of 2011, and I got the resolution, request approval to set a public hearing of July 25th, 2011, denied. So it was several meetings before a hearing was even set and held, but it did occur.
Thank you.
So,
thank you very much.
I think that...
Anything else on this?
I think you should do the right thing. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments? Project. Merry Christmas, sir.
Thank you.
Ready for the holidays?
Yes, I am. And I'll make my comments pretty quick. In contrast to Mr. Kemp, I would ask you not to dismiss the verbatim minutes. I think they're a very useful tool. They do permit people to see what's going on, and they're important for the public to have.
And you know, from a historical perspective, you go back to our minutes, you go back to the 20s, and this is what we've done for the past 100 years. And I would not want to ever get into that situation, at least while I sit here. Somebody else down the road will do whatever they do. Because they are, from a historical perspective, they're tremendously important.
So I would disagree with him in that respect. I will, however, ask you guys to consider something about the oath taking, maybe not here so much, but at meetings of the zoning board and planning board, I have seen some representations made which I believe were probably not true.
Okay.
And there are no penalties for those statements. Perhaps it would be useful to have an oath at those proceedings, so that the proceedings are handled with a little bit more fidelity to the truth.
Probably something we should consider for public hearings also, because those are the ones that are on the record.
And public hearings too, and also have a great holiday.
You too. Any other comments by the public? Again, Merry Christmas, Happy and Healthy New Year.
Merry
Monica?
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Enjoy.